Canadian Grand Prix. After a lot of driver changes been made in the last weeks, I'm here with Adam Beckett again after a long time. No partnering between us, but everything all right, Adam?
I'm Matthias, hi everybody, and welcome to another exciting edition of Formula EuroLeague here in Canada, Montreal. And yeah, Matthias, I am very much looking forward to this race. In all honesty, I've been looking forward to this race since last week, and what an incredible was seeing Kai and Darth for the two leading protagonists fighting it out in this championship, really going toe to toe all the way to the line, literally separated by a tenth of a second. It just goes to show how tight this championship battle is going to be. It's finally come to life. The two of them have, in a strange way, despite finishing first and second in a lot of these races this season, those two have found a very they found it very easy to avoid each other. They haven't really had too many on-track battles, but that has changed in the most dramatic way in Baku. And of course, if you haven't seen that race, I definitely recommend that you check that one out, because it was an absolute barnstormer, and I'm hoping for more of the same today.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting race, with hopefully a lot of action, handful of action. Yeah, we're I think one guy has to join still. I'm going to quickly run down to the grid. We have Flying Finisher and Thomas in the Mercedes. Maiko left, and he'll be replacing him, the Mercedes reserve. Plausible season 1 tier 2 champion, and Benjamin in the Ferrari. Bolin and Sam. Bolin as well, tier 2 driver next to Sam. Headkamper and Levi Vogelaar makes his tier 1 debut after winning in tier 2 and grabbing pole as well. Sepp van der Lubbe and Yuri PSV in the Haas team, both looking strong in the tier 2 champion and tier 3 championship. Steve in the McLaren, so his teammate needs to join. Kai and IST in the Racing Point. What a battle it was in the Baku Grand Prix, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Bendel and Matthias Gamer in the Alfa Romeo, looking strong as well in the last couple of rounds. Lorenzo Bandini and Donkey in the Toro Rosso AlphaTauri team in the Williams. Monster and Compassion. I think you're going to notice quite a bit different in my microphone, because I have a new one and I hope you all enjoy it. Yes, boys, Matthias has a good mic again. Yes, I have. It's really smooth, but I am really looking forward to this race, Adam.
Yeah, same here, and as we were talking about in previous races, we have got a championship battle. Not to hype this up too much, but we've got a championship battle that looks like it's really going to get underway in the most dramatic way, and I'm hoping that that can continue. We've already had 6 races so far this season, and that, as we've already mentioned, they've been dominated mostly by 2 guys. However, the Constructors' Championship situation is got kind of interesting,
really
owing to a few driver changes. Before, we were talking about Ferrari and Racing Point being the leading protagonist of that championship, with their 2 drivers in particular leading the way. But Mercedes have now found themselves in a strong position, of course, with Darth for joining them from Ferrari. However, as we mentioned, losing Maiko, FEO AMG 44. That's going to be a big blow to them, but he hadn't exactly had the best of starts this season, so of course being replaced by Flynn_Finisher today, a big opportunity for him to try and see if he can get back into a strong position. But we'll have to wait and see how that works out. But in the meantime,
we have a race to do.
Exactly.
First qualifying, with Thomas with 127 points in the championship lead, with Kai behind him, and Williams scored their first points in Azerbaijan, so that's a crazy result, as we have a dry qualifying session. No, this one, yes, so we will be ready to shine at the Canadian Grand Prix with another full grid, with Marcus as a reserve, stepped in late in the McLaren, and I think he'll be finding himself in the midfield or at the front of the back. We're waiting till the guys exit their garage. I think it's going to be a wet race, maybe, because they really take long to select their tire and setup, so they might tweak their own setups to a wet setup. So I think we might have a chance of a rain race. And last season here, both championships were decided where Thomas won with an amazing battle with Ice-T, and Williams won their first Constructors Championship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Matthias. Of course, I remember commentating on that race like it was yesterday. Very dramatic
good
finish,
memories.
Of course,
Good memories.
waiting to see if Darth FIFA was going to cross the line and become the champion. And of course, with Maiko being relegated to 7th, with Darth FIFA taking that win, that was enough on the day. And of course, we should mention the Williams team. It's been a very difficult season, I think it's fair to say, by their normal standards. Obviously, Matthias being team boss of the Williams team, you would have expected fortunes to favour you a lot more often than they have. And having scored their first point of the season in Baku, as team boss with the drivers that you have in Monster and Compassion, two very, very quick drivers, we've seen Monster be an absolute star outside the top two, constantly battling with those two in plenty of races, and a consistent podium finisher, considering that he was once in the midfield. Would you say now that you have the driver lineup that you feel can really get Williams back to where they belong in fighting for championships on
Well,
both fronts?
I think first we have to conquer the midfield. That's the first job we want to do. The midfield is really close, and I think in the end of the season we can still get in the top 4, because with two talented drivers in, as we saw last year's Monster should have got the podium, and Compassion should have got P5, but they both looked really strong in practice sessions. Think Compassion topping one of them. And as we're about to see Yuri PSV his first ever lap in Tier 1 in an official race, so we'll just go with him. It's looking good for him in the Tier 3 season as well, and I think he drove a couple of Tier 2 races.
Yeah, I've watched Yuri a little bit, and yeah, he's definitely a driver that's shown some good pace. He's got some good drives in, which has given him the opportunity to drive in the Tier 1 race, just the same as SVDL as well, his teammate. Yeah. So Haas have got a, I wouldn't exactly say an inexperienced team, but they've got a team of drivers that aren't overly experienced racing in the upper echelons of Formula EuroLeague. So a lot of pressure on their shoulders to deliver, but given Haas's performance in the championship so far, they're in a very, very good position to try and experiment with something like this. And I'm pretty confident that these guys know what they're doing, have what it takes to be able to go out there and score some big points for their team and continue their championship charge.
Yeah, that's absolutely true there. Haas looking, I think, already have the points they have dreamed of in the last season. As Yuri said, a 188, that's I think a good lap for him. We'll watch Kai Eltic and closely followed by his championship rival Thomas. So Matthias stops with just a couple of hundredths of a second on his friend Yuri, but Sam absolutely destroys that lap from oh, and Bendal tops the timing standing. Sorry, and Kai backed off his lap as Thomas is crossing the line in 3rd place, but look how close the top 3 is. 4 is all between 1/10 of a second, even less. And we'll go on board with Compassion, who made his Tier 1 debut last week out in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, as he'll now be looking to score some good points and have no penalties. But what can he do? He is now in clear air. Oh, and he invalidated the lap. Really forgot about it. His teammate then, Monster, through the final 2 corners, the Wall of Champions. If Thomas crashes there, it name would make worth 190. Is really still close in the field. Now with Steve, where he did good last time in the season, Grand Canada run P5 at one time, but got a drive-through penalty, which demoted him all the way to almost last. Donkey goes 5th fastest. So Toros are looking good. Sorry.
Well, of course, we shouldn't neglect the infamous Wall of Champions, getting its name from the 1999 Canadian Grand Prix where Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve all crashed into that wall in the same race. And of course, since then, it's received that name and taken on a few other casualties like Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso as well in future races. So a very difficult corner to negotiate. It's obviously coming from down the final back straight, the DRS Open, and you really want to try and commit as much as you can, but you have to watch the bumps, because if you
like
catch
Steve
that bump,
does.
as Steve very does it, that's exactly how it should be done. But if you catch the bump too far on that left-hand side, it unsettles the car, and you've got nowhere to go other than the barrier at 160 miles an hour. Not exactly where you want to be.
What a lap.
Yeah, we see Flynn finisher
7-8.
Showing his hand, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing, running the 69 car, of course, because there's always one in every lobby.
Benjamin does it as well.
He does indeed. I was just thinking of him as well.
Yeah, he's the one with original.
But of course, Mercedes, a lot of pressure on Flynn finisher, as I haven't seen too much of him, if I'm perfectly honest. But if he's able to set times like that on a regular basis, then I'm sure he will be able to fill those boots left behind by FEL MG44. Looking at the order at the moment, there isn't really too many drivers that I'm seeing really where I feel that they should be. I mean, I can see Darth Vader in 4th. Granted, he's not really the best qualifier. He said that himself. His race pace is usually his strength. So I'm expecting a few more down the bottom of the order. Ardapple Gamer, Kai Elting, 4 times a pole position started this season. Compassion. Plajabol, of course. Let's not forget Plajabol, who was the Formula EuroLeague Tier 2 champion, driving for Ferrari in place of Tim Wenting today. So a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in this field. He's a driver that's very much impressed me, covering his campaign in Formula EuroLeague Tier 2. So I'm hoping to see him perform very, very well today. I'll be keeping an eye on his performance.
Yeah, as we're following Levi Vogelaar in the Renault. After Iran is absent after winning the Monaco Grand Prix, and his teammate getting a P3 in Azerbaijan, but what can he do now? 7/10 up in his time, so that will put him around a good P7 if I am correct. Yeah, just about P7.
If he's 7/10 up, yeah, you're right. It's looking very, very good.
Yeah, and look how close the top 6 is.
Yeah, it's extremely tight in Canada.
Takes it good. No touches with the wall on the exit, and it's good enough for P7 it is.
Yeah, so it's about right where we called it actually. So not bad from Levi Vogelaar. Danny Hetkamper, his teammate, goes a 10th and a half faster to take 7th place. Renault have got a very good driver lineup. They picked 2 drivers for the season in Danny Hetkamper and Joran, of course not with us today. 2 midfield drivers from previous seasons. They've really upped their game, these 2 in particular, and I'm very impressed following their progress, especially Joran getting that win in Monaco, an absolutely incredible drive from him. One of the best drives I've seen in Formula EuroLeague in a long time.
Good lap.
And Bendel goes on pole.
Absolutely true.
And Danny Hetkamper as well with a podium in Baku, by no means fortunate, and of course getting pole in Monaco as well, let's not forget. So they've really upped their game, these 2, and I'm really excited to see if they can continue to do that in future games. One driver, of course, I'm glad to see higher up the field than normal is Bendel, another driver who impressed me in Formula EuroLeague
flying.
Had a hard time adjusting, but he's really seems to have found his pace now. As you mentioned, rightly so, Sem.
Yeah,
Sem
he's
12,
flying purple sector 2.
The VRL champion for last season. Again, another driver that hasn't shown his hand, his true pace as of yet. I know he's quick. I've covered enough of his races to see it. And let's see if he can
the line.
get that Red Bull. Hugs the line, the fastest route.
P4-3. Still good lap, I think, for him.
Again, Sem, like Darth Vader, not the fastest qualifier. It's his race pace that's really his strength. And if he's anywhere near the front, he'll be very mighty in the race. But that's a very tight-looking grid at the moment, Matthias. As you were saying, the top 14 drivers, 13 drivers covered by a second. And a second, you can cover a lot of ground here in Formula 1 in a second. And these cars, it's shaping up to be a very exciting race. Everybody seems to report their A game, with the exception of Monster. Although he is on the mediums at the moment, so And that's going to be interesting, Matthias. Strategy is going to be key in this race. Now, normally, the fastest strategy would be mediums to hards. However, because the softer tyres offer you so much more speed in qualifying, you can't really afford to take that gamble unless you're at least half a second quicker than everyone else. And there's no one in this field, not even Kai Elting, our qualifying maestro, who's on a flying lap right now, or not, who's invalidated, I should say. Not even he is really able to get that much of an advantage to warrant putting the medium tyres on. That's why he's running the red stripe tyres, as you can see. So
Flynn
it's quite a
flying.
bit of an enigma for these guys.
Flynn is really flying, but he invalidated. Oh, that's a shame. It was looking really, really good.
Another driver on a good lap at the moment is, well, he was on a good lap, he's backed off now, but Donkey. Doing good so far in the Toro Rosso. He's definitely up on his normal performance. Of course, some of the quicker guys look like they're going to go out and do a lap pretty soon as he abandons this one. Just watching Flynn coming through now as he's abandoned.
Yeah, he invalidated it.
It's very easy to invalidate your lap round here at the moment. There's so many areas, so many traction zones where you really have to try and commit as much as possible, because if you don't, you lose time. And there's always that risk if you get it wrong, a wheel offline here or there, you're going to end up invalidating your lap. So a lot of these guys taking big risks, but there's a huge reward if it comes off for you.
That is true. Benda and Flynn are looking really strong. Both the only ones in the 178s, and Sam closely followed in the 179s. Then the rest is on the 1.8s and in the 1.9s, as McLaren loses his end plate. I think that's Marcus. But
Marcus.
Levy is entering the final part of Sector 3. And he's now only 2 corners to go. The Wall of Champions, the fast right left-hander. What's going to do? Is he going to fully commit it? That's it's really slippery on the exit. Still good enough for a 1/10 improvement, but not a position, sadly. But Sepp is abandoning his lap. Matthias maybe 200ths of a second. Sorry, up on his time. Look how close he's to the exit of the wall. Passing Benjamin on his lap. 2.22 tenths up on his time. Yeah, I'm following Matthias. He's now P13.
He was on pole position earlier in this session. It just shows how much the track evolution is taking effect on this circuit and how much the drivers are really ramping up their times. This last 4 minutes is going to be really exciting. I don't know who's going to be on pole position, guys, but let us know in the comments who you think is going to nail it as Matthias comes across the line to
P10.
improve to the top 10. So Benjamin Ardapple Gamer, the only driver on the medium tyres in the top 10. However, he's starting a fast lap now on the softer tyres, so just going to keep an eye on him. This one could be good. There's around about 6-7 tenths of a second for extra performance between the soft and the medium tyres. So if he sets a similar lap, delta adjusted, he'll be able to get it on pole. He's already 2 tenths up on this opening lap following right now, running the 69 Ferrari. Oh, and he's twitched and he's gone into the wall. He's still able to keep going there. You can see that twitch as he was going through mid-corner. That Ferrari not stable enough for him to push as early as he like, and he's invalidated the lap. So he's going to have to hurry if he's going to have to try and set a new time. But that is a shame for Benjamin. Completely ruined that lap. His teammate, Plajabol, about to set his one and only flying lap by the looks of it. So a lot of pressure on this man's shoulders. A qualifying maestro in Formula EuroLeague Tier 2. And he's definitely going to have to pull off some similar heroics in order to try and get that Ferrari on the front row. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, making his debut in Formula EuroLeague Tier 1 for the Ferrari team, the team he won the Tier 2 championship with. So they know him very, very well, and I'm sure big expectations on this man's shoulders. A fairly decent first sector from him so far, and locking his brakes. Again, runs a little bit wide there coming out of that turn. It's a very notorious corner to run wide on that turn 7. Oh, and he's gone very wide there, locking the brakes again. He's really throwing it in there, Plajabol.
Monster, come on.
And
P7. Good lap from him there.
That's a decent effort from Monster. Not quite as good as he probably would have liked, but I think he
P7
won't
is
mind starting
decent.
7th.
No, especially as he said to me, Canada is a track I really hate to drive. So I think he could be happy with this. So far as Kai goes P3 with an amazing lap time.
So it just goes to show how good Ben Dell and Flynn Finisher have been in qualifying, because as we said, Kai Elting is usually the qualifying maestro in Formula Euroleague.
Yeah.
He's shown that. 4 pole positions this season, more than anybody else.
He can steal pole away if he gets a good sector 3. Really committing it in the final 2 corners, really on the edge with invalidating or not, and I think it's going to be P4 for him still, but look how close he is behind his championship rival. And
But
Finn,
crucially, Matthias, his teammate went
in
even
pole.
faster than
Yeah.
he did, a 1:27.6. We missed that. What a lap from Flynn Finisher. I tell you what, I mean, we talked about him having a bit of patience here,
Steve.
but he's definitely come to show what he's got today. No pressure. Definitely not feeling the nerves. One man who might be feeling the pressure or feeling the nerves, as you rightly said.
Steve.
The
He's looking good.
inaugural champion of Formula Euroleague, definitely not able to practice as often as he once used to, hence why his pace has dropped quite dramatically, but he's still hanging in there, still fighting, as we love to see. Now he's coming to the final corner, really committed in there.
Oh.
I'll tell you what, that's a lot of speed coming through that final corner. I don't see
on,
anyone
Steve.
taking the final corner, and as you can see,
4/10 improvement with another position.
he improved, but he found 4/10 of a second in that final sector, surely from the final corner. What?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, and that's what you want to see. It's a shame that Steve is not really as quick as he once was, but I'll tell you what, he's definitely giving it everything
7
now.
on the edge, yeah. He said to me, I don't like the game to drive in 7th, 3rd fastest amazing lap time. Yuri might be able to improve his time and step up a position to Donkey. Spando retired from the session, the P2 man. Come on. What can Yuri do? Oh, invalidated, but look how fast he was trying to get through the corner. Donkey
of course,
just misses the flag.
Well, of course, guys, the timer on the screen is a little bit out of sync, so keep an eye on the left-hand side of your screen. When you see the checkered flag, that's when you know the session has been finished and complete. So Ardapple Gamer and a few others, and Donkey as well, able to start their final laps. Plajabol, another driver, just about starting his final lap now. So I believe anyone crossing the line, probably maybe now, will miss out. So we'll have to wait and see on the
Oh,
screens.
Benjamin. Oi.
And that's his lap ruined now. And you can see he's absolutely binded in the wall there. His teammate Plajabol just coming through turn 7 now. What can he do? All eyes on him at the moment now, as Compassion did not make it across the line in time and will therefore start 19th. Surely will be last when Plajabol comes across the line to complete his flying there. Let's have a look at the Ferrari driver now. Let's see. Pretty good middle sector. See how he comes through now. Let's have a look as Bolin in the Red Bull goes second on the front row. What a surprise from him. What an effort. Now Plajabol coming through the final part. Let's not forget, he's also got a Haas behind him. He's got SVDL behind him, who's on a quick lap himself. So we'll have to see what he can do down in 14th
On
position
the
now.
edge.
Going through there. SVDL also equally committed now. As they come across the line, Plajabol goes 12th fastest. Only 12th, and SVDL does not improve. Quite a surprise. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Plajabol, I was talking him up and not able to deliver the goods on this occasion, but I believe that is qualifying. Quite a lot of shock stars.
Oh, Lorenzo surprises in P7, so good qualifying from the Alpha Tauri team, Torosso team.
Yeah, the Torosso team occupying the 4th row on the grid there, 7th and 8th. So great job from them occupying that 4th row for Torosso. And as I said, I believe that's qualifying. So quite the shock there. I didn't expect to see the top 4,
So
or perhaps
close.
top 3 at least. Well, the top 3 as it was, as you can see, yeah, nothing separating 2nd to 6th really. It's separated by literally 700ths of a second, or 600ths of a second I should say actually. So I'll tell you what, this bodes for an exciting race. But as you can see, everybody on soft tyres with the exception of Benjamin Ardapple Gamer, who will be kicking himself knowing that by the delta adjustment could have done a time fast enough to get pole, but that is qualifying for the Formula Euro League Canadian Grand Prix.
Okay. The man on pole is flying finisher with Bolin behind him, Bendo P3, Sam P4, Kai in P5, Thomas in P6. So they are on the same grid row, the championship rivals. Torres with a good qualifying in Lorenzo P7 and Donkey P8. Yuri in P9, Monster P10. Ice Team P11, disappointing from him I think, but still 6/10 behind. Plausible in 12. Benjamin in 13. Look how close they all are on P11 to 13. Baptiste P14. SVDL in P15. Headcamp 16. Levi 17. Marcus 18. Steve 19. Compassion 20. And Monster in P10. I really forgot him. But it's looking really interesting for the race, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the qualifying form book definitely did not suggest that kind of qualifying session. A lot of drivers definitely out of sync in terms of where they would normally be. But of course, that always bodes well for an exciting race. And as we mentioned before, everybody going for rather the similar strategy. It will be interesting to see what the drivers outside the top 10 will do. As I mentioned before, medium to hard tends to be the preferable strategy to go. But of course, with the delta being so large and the pack being so close together in terms of performance, the softer tyres tend to be more favourable in qualifying, which will compromise the race. So don't be surprised to see a lot of guys outside the top 10 running the medium tyres for their opening stint, and that could prove to be a very race-winning strategy. Of course, so many opportunities to overtake, and of course the odd safety car here and there will shake up the order, so I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how that will all play out.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
But of course, guys, this is the final race on F1 2019. As we should mention, we are going to be moving over to F1 2020 after the summer break, if you like.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good opportunity for these guys to finally put everything that they've learned to practice for one last time, to really see who can get the win here in Canada. And looking at that order, Matthias, who would you put your money on if you were a betting man?
Sam or Kai or Thomas. I don't know, Sam is always really strong in the race, and I think it's also going to come down on penalties, because it's really easy to get penalties on this track.
Yeah, I mean, those are the sensible choices. I mean, I'd be intrigued to see how the top three drivers get on. Of course, drivers, with the exception of Ben Dell, really not much experience in the top leagues, especially at the top end of that order in this league. But for some reason, I'm going to go with Flynn Finisher today. I think that pole position time, he was very consistent. It wasn't just a one-off. He did set a few very, very quick laps.
Yeah.
So if he can put it together, there's absolutely no reason why he can't win on his debut in Formula Euro League. Of course, we've had that a few times, and I'm going to bet on him today. I'm going to bet on the underdog, if he could be considered the underdog given his qualifying performance.
That's true.
But of course, guys, if you're new to the channel, obviously we're on Twitch now for the races live on Sunday, so make sure to follow us on twitch.tv/Formula_Euro_League, and you can of course see the races on YouTube when they are put on the YouTube channel, Formula_Euro_League, and of course follow us on Instagram and Twitter under the same handles as well. And it looks like we're about to get underway, guys, so turn up the volume, leave the kids at grandma's, get comfortable as we're about to get underway for the final time on F1 2019 here at the Canadian Grand Prix for Formula Euro League. Matthias, Matthias, you know what to do. Send them on their way.
Yeah, Mercedes on pole. I don't know why I have this on. I have their telemetry, but here he starts his Grand Prix and it's glitched. I don't know. It's glitched. Oh, and away we go. It's a good start from the pole sitter and the Red Bull as well. But look how good Kai is. Oh, it's a collision with the Alpha and the Red Bull. They took each other out before turn 1 has even gone past. And it's already a big collision in turn 1. Steve made up some places, but look, Flying Finn in the front, but Bolin is trying to follow him. Look, the Toros of Bandini already put the P3 from P7. Absolutely fly from him. Steve is battling here. Look how close it is. You don't want to make contact here. It's such a narrow street circuit. Monster and Yuri side by side. just a moment ago. And Plausible, good getaway from P12, already to P8. So, oh, there's a car going, cutting the corner. I think it was Benjamin or one of the Alphas. Side by side between Donkey and Plausible into the hairpin. And who's going to get top of it? I think Donkey, no, Plausible. But what a contact before turn 1. The Red Bull of Sam, I think, made contact with one of the Alphas, and that Alpha is Bendel for P3 to P20. And that's your lap 1, guys. 34 laps in front of you, and a crazy to lap 1. Thomas is wildcard damage, so that will favor Kai absolutely in the championship, with Samu as well and Bendel as well to the pit. So 3 guys into the pits.
It was a great getaway from Kai Elting that really triggered that situation. He just got an absolute mega launch, just as he did in Baku last week, and he got in between the Red Bull of Sem and Bendel in the Alfa Romeo, and of course similar to the Max Verstappen Vettel Raikkonen incident back in Singapore in 2017.
Yeah.
2 cars outside of Kai sandwiched him, and that really caused a collision. Unfortunately for Sem and Bendel, it's really compromised their race. Kai is still able to continue with minimal damage, so thankfully for his race he's still going on strong. But of course, as you mentioned, Darth Thief all the way down now in 19th. He got caught up in that incident as well, so now he's going to have to
this goes side by side in the Wall of Champions. Monster backs out of it. Flying Finn still in the lead, and I don't think my prediction of Sam and Thomas is going to come out.
No. As you mentioned, Flynn underscore finisher. I mean, he says Flying Finn, but it spells Flynn. So yeah, he's absolutely flying at the moment. Great getaway from him, exactly what he needed to do. And now he's in very comfortably. But VR46 Bowling following him well at the moment.
Go for it. Oh yeah. Also, you're into the pit lane, and look, Compassion from last on the grid in 2.5 laps already up to P13. So he is looking really strong in this race, of a good pace from him. But look, this battle, Seb cuts the corner. This allows Benjamin to the back of his gearbox. Benjamin is going to send one around the outside. No, he keeps in, trying to do a little bit of a switchback there, as you see the racing point of Ice-T trying to make a move on the Alpha of Matthias Game, who now needs to watch his mirrors. But look how close the Ferrari of Benjamin is on the hard tire, so he'll be doing the reverse strategy. Kai is in the pit, so he has a 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. So Matthias, where the Plausible will start P12 or P11, so that's an amazing start from him. Already up into P4.
Well, Kai had damage on his front wing, that's why he's coming to the pit lane as early as he has, but he's not going to do himself any favours getting that penalty. One driver that's made a mega start is Plausible on the medium tyres, up into 4th place, clear as day.
Looking strong.
Managed to avoid the carnage and looking pretty handy on those medium tyres at the moment. Remains to be seen what he's going to put on later on. Of course, I'm expecting the harder tyres, but he'll be able to go a lot longer in this opening stint than the front 3, so keep your eye out on Plausible, looking very, very handy at this moment in 4th place.
And I have some news for you. Rain in 10 minutes spun on the board radio from one of the guys. They're saying that in the chat, so we have a rain race if it's true. Looking forward to that. And Monster is a bit pulling away from the Toro Rosso of Donkey. Navy going for that Marcus, as Ice-T is defending the last point to Marcus, but Marcus really close to the back of him. So what's he going to do? Is he going to send one down the inside of turn 1? No, he tucks just in behind, but this battle for P5 is really close, with 4 or 5 drivers battling for 10 points.
Yeah, there's a huge train for him in behind Monster. I don't know if Monster has damage. I can't see any damage on his car, but he might have a yellow front wing on his MFD panels at the moment that we can't see at this point in time. But he's
or just can't keep on with the pace.
He's definitely struggling for pace, Monster. This isn't normal for him, although he did say, as you said, Canada, not a strong track for him. But he's got Donkey, SVDL, RDapple Gamer, Matisse Gamer, Ice-T, Marcus, who's just gone for a spin. Marcus.
Oh, Marcus.
Just as
first
commentator's
retirement.
curse there. Running solid in 11th position, but he is out of the race. Completely
VSC.
lost it out of turn 8. And
Are
VSC.
going to see pit stops. What's
Well, if
Flynn
you're
going to do? Flynn into the pits, leader into the
Well,
pits, but what tire compound?
Well, quite a controversial choice here, Matthias, because if you're absolutely right in saying the rain is on the way, this is going to be a very, very risky decision for some of these guys, because if rain is imminent, which it doesn't look like it is, that may be a poor choice, but Flynn putting on the medium tyres, he's not going to be able to go to the end on those, but what he will
Benjamin
be able
now
to
in the
do,
lead.
yes, what he will be able to do is maybe put on another set of mediums towards the end of this race. If it stays dry, we should stress, and he comes out in 4th place, right on the back of Ice-T, so he's managed to sneakily get a pit stop.
It's already continue of the race, sorry Adam.
Yeah.
It's
but
green.
will that pay him back later on? As we've got
yeah.
RDapple Gamer, leading the race on the harder tyres, started on those tyres, so right now Benjamin in a very strong position at this point in time, as is Mattis Gamer and
Steve in
Ice-T.
P6, yes he is. Oops. Sorry, but Steve looking good in the P6. Look how struggling he is to keep the car on track. But he's really close to head camper, and I think Steve is loving the battle he's going to have with Danny and Bolin behind.
Well, he's loving that battle a bit too much. He was almost going into the back of Danny Hetkamper now. But he's struggling to get the pace, and VR Bolin's got a great run here. DRS is going to be enabled for a lot of these guys. It kind of mitigates the effect of DRS to the point where it doesn't really help you that much. Of course, a double DRS section on this
track. Look how close Matthias is for the lead. Is he going to send one around the outside of turn 1? He is. It's going to now have the inside. The race leader before the VSC is now right behind him. Can he improve from that? He is also right behind Benjamin, still around the outside in turn 3. Can he hang on to it? No, he can't. Oh, they make contact. Benjamin descending into a spin. Ice-T has damage, and it's a massive pile-up. It's a massive pile-up here. Out of turn 3. Lots of penalties and lots of damage. So good luck with the Stewart thing, but that's all been caused by Benjamin staying on the inside of the Alpha of Matthias, and he's getting away quite well. He hasn't got any damage, I think. We're looking. No, he hasn't got any damage. Oh my god. Well, that was crazy.
But yeah, you know, you're absolutely right there. RDapple Gamer really needed to realise that that battle was really up. And unfortunately, this is one of the things that happens quite often in online races. You see a lot of these guys going hell for leather, really not giving up battles and trying to get the move or win the move back after you've immediately lost it. And on this occasion, it hasn't worked for him. Interestingly, Flim Finisher comes into the pits again. So what are we going to do now? Is he going to put on the harder tyres, or is he going to put on... Oh, he's having his front wing repaired. So
yeah, lots of guys in the pits.
A lot of people that would have been caught up in that incident with RDapple Gamer, as you can see, putting on new tyres, getting their wings repaired, and that's going to change the order quite a bit. Plajabol, who was in the midfield as he pit on to put on another set of mediums, is up into 2nd place. So all that time that he thought he'd lost is now been paid back to him in full. Mattis Gamer holding on to that lead, as we saw, and of course Sem, one of the drivers who ended up at the back of the field after that lap 1 incident with Kai Elsing and Bendel, back into 3rd place, and Monster on the softer tyres. So we're seeing a mix of strategies at the moment, Matthias.
Love to see it.
With SVDL and Darth FIFA, we haven't mentioned him too much in this race.
Back
on
at
the
P6.
hard compound tyres. So SVDL, the leading driver on the harder tyres, assuming this stays dry, Matthias, and that's a big if at the moment with weather report.
Yeah, it's looking really cloudy if you look to the sky.
But can SVDL go to the end on the harder tyres? That's going to be a very, very big ask. Of course, not impossible, because normally now is probably the time to be on the harder tyres if you are one stopping. So this might come back to him later on. I can see the 4 guys ahead of him are all going to have to stop at least one more time. None of them, in my mind, should be going to the end of the race on those tyres. So if he can hold on to track position and maintain his pace, then there's no reason why he doesn't feel he's in a good position to win this Grand Prix at this point in time.
Yeah. It is looking a really mixed up grid with Thomas back at the front. But also Kai, Bendel and Benjamin at the back of the grid. And it's so sad to see Lorenzo Bandini was actually running P3. So that's a big shame for him. I really would have liked to see Jelle on the podium.
Yeah. But I mean, just going back to that Ardapple Gamer incident with Tice, obviously we'll talk about it in a bit. I think the message I was trying to get across is that I've seen a lot of incidents, not just him, but other drivers in this series, and other series too, where you've really got to know when to pick your battles. You've got to know when to hold them, and you've got to know when to fold them. And on that occasion, it was folding time. He had to yield to Matty's Gamer. He didn't do it. He left his car in there to try and see if he could make the move, but there was no room, and unfortunately, that's what happens. You can get your nose taken off, cause an incident like that.
Safety car in this lap.
It sends you to the back of the field. So you'll have to learn from that. F1 2020 is obviously, I imagine it's going to be similar in that regard of how unforgiving it can be.
Yeah. Really looking forward to the new game.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely more of a driver's game from what I've heard, which bodes well. I haven't practiced it or anything like that or tested it. I didn't get one of the beta codes, not that I tried. But nonetheless,
why don't you give Adam the beta code? He should have deserved it. To test
well,
the new spectator modes. Hopefully there are new spectator things.
Well, I hope to be doing a little bit more than spectating, but nonetheless, we're going to get back underway now.
Matthias restarting.
Leads the field through, got Plajabol right up behind him in the Ferrari. So let's see what Plajabol can do now at the front of the field. Can you put pressure on Matthias Gamer? He already had one Ferrari to deal with, now he's got the other one to contest with.
Oh, Bendel disqualified for ignoring a drive-through penalty.
Not sure what he got that for, but nonetheless, that's his race over and done with. So he is out of the race despite getting on the front row of
Look how close the Ferrari is. Oh, he's really on the back, and the the Williams of Monster also really close to the back of the Red Bull. So they're really SVDL can't hold on to the pace of the top four, so he's falling a bit behind.
Well, Monster's on those softer tyres and he's putting them to good use now and all over the back of Sem. And if he's going to make those soft tyres work for him, which quite honestly I'm not sure why he put them on, he's going to have to pass early on and try and get away. Right now you can see Plajabol all over the back of Matty's game.
Side
no
by
DRS.
side. Woo,
they need
another
2 laps before the DRS is opened. So at this point, Matty's game are able to hold him off. But right now, Plajabol might even not need DRS now. As he pulls to the left-hand side, is he going to go for a lunge this time? He does not go for the lunge on this occasion.
It's a good
putting
dummy
as
from
much
him.
Pressure, but Matthias Gamer staying ice cool at the moment, holding his nerve and keeping that Ferrari behind him. With Sem, as we mentioned, the BRL champion, Sem, very
He's
good driver.
10-1, oh. He's really letting know he is there. He is looking really good. Plausible. He has more pace than Matthias has. And now putting Rowdy side by side into Discord. No, he hangs on it. Now has the better run on him, and the exit of the corner makes a little bit contact with his rear wheel. Now going to send one. No, yes, no. Look how close the Red Bull now is.
Oh, the 4 of them all line astern. Literally nothing to separate them, and he's got a great run out of the hairpin.
Going for it. Come
all
on.
over the back. No DRS this
Side
time
by
around.
side.
He's going to put it into the richest mix now, using all the battery possible alongside the
Oh,
Alfa Romeo.
is
he going to be bold this time? No, he tucks in, but Matthias Gamer's going to be very compromised on his exit, as you can see there, round the outside, and surely this time, Plagebol's going to take the lead, and he does a brilliant move. And I've got to say, Matthias, that is an absolute contrast to what we saw, bless you, that is an absolute contrast to what we saw with his teammate Ardapple Gamer. He took his time, he waited for his moment to seize the opportunity, he calculated the move, and when he managed to unsettle Matthias Gamer's line, he made that move and made it stick. That is how you make an overtake.
Yeah,
Brilliant move from Pleasurable.
good calculated move. Look how much SVL slipping on his hard tires. Flying Finisher is now past him in the Mercedes, and he's trying to catch up to the top 4.
Well, he's been out of sorts with strategy with his safety cars. It's really compromised his race, Flim Finisher, having stopped twice already on medium tyres and repairing damage to his front wing. Now trying to have to recover his race, but he's shown pace, and he's definitely got the tyres at this point in time to really try and catch the guys out of front. Monster still struggling to get past him. If anything, he's fallen back now. Those softer tyres might be wearing away. Sem all over the back of Matthias Gamer, but Pleasurable starting to edge away, but he's going to have to do well to shake the DRS at the point in time, because that is what's keeping those guys behind him at this point in time.
Yeah, now Monster is really close behind Sam. But what can he do? Matthias can't really keep on to the pace to the Ferrari of Pluizenbol, but look how close they both are.
Well, they're all getting to that point now where the medium tyres are starting to wear a little bit for these guys. A lot of sliding.
Oh,
but it's a great exit for Monster, but Sem is going to get the DRS now. But Matthias Gamer, Sem's going to go for a move up the inside.
Beautiful move, but he pushed him a little bit off track. Now Monster has the better run on Matthias and Sam. Matthias a bit glitching here, and he's going to send one down the inside of Matthias, forcing him quite wide by braking really late.
Look at Flim Finisher there. Sees his moment, sees the opportunity as it opened up for him, and has managed to make a great move there to head of Matthias Gamer. But as I said, a big 40s dive bomb that time around.
Yeah, broken
Sem now,
quite
but he's
late.
going to have to fend off Monster. Is Monster going to go for the move? No. Yeah, just saying, Sem having to go for that move there was a bit impatient, but looked like a good move to me. Matthias Gamer was kept sleeping.
Oh, and down the inside of turn 1 now as the outside of turn 2. They make a little bit of contact actually. By he I don't know.
Darth Thief has gone wide at turn 1. The tyres, he's dropped all the way down to 9th. Those harder tyres giving him a lot of trouble. Now he's trying to fend off Danny Hetkamper in 10th position. But as we were saying, going back to Sem, I'll tell you what, Sem was a bit too aggressive there. Squeezed Monster a bit too much, and I think you should have given Monster at least the car's width into that corner. Monster was
I think Matthias has damage actually from it. No, it seemed like he got into the back of the Mercedes now. Actually looking if he has got any damage, or he's clear.
Just looking, oh, there's an incident there as Ardapple Gamer goes completely off the road, somehow avoids Ice-T. And he's really struggling now. Benjamin is really struggling at this point in time. And as you can see, oh,
Matthias has damage, I think.
Passion going Matthias, for the move in 13th.
Oh.
And it's going to be free wide. You can tell you what, Matthias, you're going to have to check this one out. It's going to be there's potential for carnage here.
Oh no, make it clean now, guys. Compassion leaves it, but look how fast they are through the final 2 corners.
Oh, this is getting exciting. And this is the sort of race we often see in Canada. It's definitely spicing up the action
SVL is really slow.
Yeah,
no,
really
sorry, it's Donkey. Donkey is can't keep on with the pace. Does he has any damage? No, but no, can't keep on with the pace.
Well, that we can see at the moment, but this is the phase
Flying
of the
Finn
race
going for the podium. Monster defends aggressively in the inside, but Flying Finisher obviously is really flying. Or Monster gets slipper on the exit of second chicane. Now on the outside, Monster leaves it in P4.
Well, those softer tyres are really starting to wear down. He's been on them for nearly 10 laps now, and you can see he's really starting to lose that grip. You really don't get much of a bonus after about 5 or 6 laps on those softer tyres. So I would say for Monster, now might be the time.
It's raining.
Another lap or 2.
It's pitch
starting to rain.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so that might favor Monster in the end, because everyone has to pit if it's going to rain.
It does, but I'll tell you what, it's going to have to rain very, very quickly. Cause
yeah, it's raining, it's raining.
Those softer tyres are fading away fast. He's going to start to struggle now as VR46 Bowling, who was on the front row in this race, as starting to catch him at a fast rate of knots. His flying finisher now right behind the other Red Bull in 7th. Is he going to go for the big dive bomb?
Oh, make a little bit of contact there as I tuned in.
Sem again, very aggressive in his defending, perhaps a bit too aggressive, but this time flying finisher manages. He's got so much more traction. He's got 6 lap pressure mediums, and this time gets the move done. Very nice driving from flying finisher there, but now he's 3.5 seconds behind Plajol. It's started to rain. This race, if it hadn't already got interesting, is going to start to get even tastier now.
Bolin overtook Monster, but they're still fighting for position. It's going to be an interesting one who's going to pit right now. I think if you pit in the next lap, you have a huge advantage if it's going to rain hard and hard in the coming laps.
It's not
Both
raining
of
hard
them
enough,
stay
and unfortunately,
out.
yeah, it's not raining hard enough, Matthias, and unfortunately for Monster, those soft tyres are wearing away very, very quickly, and he's going to fall into the clutches of the drivers behind him. He's already lost 2 places in the space of 2 laps, so right now...
Oh, there's a Renault going for the race, but now it's the outside of Ice-T. Ice-T gets a better exit of him, and Benjamin...
The marbles there, but as you see, Monster is absolutely praying for a monsoon right now, because those softer tyres are crying out to be taken off. And at the point, if he pits now, it's too soon. He cannot afford to pit at this point in time. And Benjamin Ardapple Gamer is having the same problem on the softer tyres. He's starting to fall down the order with Compassion, the other Williams driver, all over the back of him. This is going to get really interesting now. A lot of these guys are on very old tyres, but unless you're running harder tyres on mediums...
Oh, Compassion going for the dive bomb as... he sees the gap, and that's a good move. Oh, there's a Dali really on the traction, struggling. It's 3 wide, even 4 wide for a little split second. And Compassion improves the much as he can. Who's going to pit? Lots of guys going into the pit lane. Compassion stays out, and the first one to pit is Thomas. So Thomas could gain a lot of positions if he makes this a good call.
Inters are going on.
Inters are gone.
Held up a little bit. Ardapple Gamer also into the pits, as is Magic Alonso in the pits. So they're the first to blink. Is it too soon to put the wet tyres on? Not too sure at this point in time. We'll just have to monitor their pace and see how they do. But that transition onto wet tyres, Matthias, it is coming thick and fast. We can see Bolin right behind his teammate now, Sem. DRS still enabled as Flim Finisher gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's not going to appreciate that. See, Matthias Gamer's gone off.
Oh no!
He's had a collision with SVDL. And that's caused a
VSC.
virtual safety car. So now, Matthias, is now the time for the guys to take a quick pit stop and put on the intermediate tyres.
Yes.
Will he come in? The race leader, will he come in? He's driven a solid race at
Yes,
this point.
he is in. He is in.
Does. Finish up.
It stays out. Stays out.
So
Lots of guys are staying out.
Taking a gamble. Obviously, they put the last Ferrari pitted a lap ago, and DRS is enabled, so DRS is still valid at this point. Oh, sorry, I thought it said disabled there, thinking that was the time to come in for wets. But Pleasure Bowl, what will his pace be like? Is it too soon for those intermediate tyres, or has he got it spot on? He's got a clear track behind him, but he's got a Renault and a Haas in front of him. Just watching the guys at the front of the tyres, they are sliding about, so the track is getting greasier and more difficult to drive on at this point in time. But 2 Red Bulls fighting amongst each other, Sem and Bolin, for 2nd and 3rd position at the moment. Just looking at Plajol, he's struggling. Matthias, those intermediates, it was too soon. He put them on too soon, he's struggling. All the inter-runners are struggling at this point in time. So right now, it's not wet enough for intermediates. Plajol has lost 4 seconds to Yuri and Levi Volga.
Safety car.
It's a safety car.
Steve had an incident, I think, or with one of the Williams.
Yeah, can't see what happened. Compassion, yeah, you can see the 2 of them back there. So Compassion's got damage on his right front end plate, so that might have triggered the safety car. So that might have saved
Top 3 into the pits. Oh, Sam's going to get held up massively.
Yeah, Red Bulls are double stacking. This is going to play massively into Flynn Finisher. Looked like he'd been compromised by the strategy. All of a sudden, it's paid him back big time as he will go into the lead. As you can see, Plajabol there. Will he come second, or will he behind Bolin?
Third.
So he's behind Bolin, but I'll tell you what, Matthias, Plajabol, a massive reprieve for him there. Came onto the Inters a lap too soon, by the looks of it, maybe a couple of laps too soon. The safety car spared his blushes, and at least he's third. He could have been even further down, but I'll tell you what, we have had everything in this race already, and we've still got 15 laps to go, guys.
15?
Still plenty of race. Use your money on at this point.
I'm not going to say I don't want to lose my money. Look at Yuri Levy, Donkey, Danny Hetkamp are also really improved from the strategy. Wait, everyone is on the softs except Sam. Sam is on the softs and the rest is on inters.
Yeah, it's an interesting one there. Sam's put on dry to I don't know. I think he might have had a Matt Gallagher moment where he's forgot to tell them to put the wets on. You know, they're putting dries on. They're putting dries on. For those of you who've not seen that episode of YouTuber Championship, but yeah, I think Sam might have had a Matt Gallagher moment or a brain fart moment maybe, and put on dry tyres. Or maybe he knows something that we don't. I mean, we haven't had the DRS disabled status change, have we?
Oh no,
SVDL
Europe cuts the corner. No, that's absolutely true, but maybe under the safety car it's going to rain more and more.
Maybe, but it's definitely a hell of a gamble for Sem, and if... I mean, I haven't seen the weather report if the track's meant to get drier, but at this point in time, we don't know. Are the dry tyres the right tyres to be on? Magic Alonso has put on harder tyres.
Hard.
So perhaps it's not too... Perhaps the dry tyres are the right way to go. We'll have to wait and see.
Wow, this is interesting. I already did. Only Sam is on the softs, and with Kai and Steve. Steve on the hards and Kai on the mediums.
Well, Kai's on the inters. Tyres, I believe.
Sorry.
So,
green and yellow, I get confused.
It's just Magic Alonso and Sem that are on dry tyres. But we, as I said, we haven't seen the DRS disabled notification yet. So at this point in time, dry tyres could still be the way to go. There's only going to be one way to find out when the safety car pulls away. All this anticipation, I'll tell you what a way to end Formula EuroLeague's time of F1 2019 game. It's proved to be one heck of a race, and got less than nearly 14 laps to go, guys. Let me know who your money's on. Safety car
in this lap.
This lap.
Yes,
A thin finisher will lead the drivers away, but he will not know if those Inters tyres are going to be good enough. Plajabol might have a good idea, because they were too soon for him, but are they right for him now? Sem, and it doesn't look like it's raining hard enough at this point. They could have made a massive mistake, but we're about to find out now as Flynn Finish comes through the final corner to lead them away.
Pace.
Sliding away. I'm going to be watching Sem.
Yeah, sorry, Sam.
They've all got away relatively well at this point in time, but they'll have to see it
no
go through. And as you
yet.
you can see already those dry tyres
look
to be the tyre to be on. They look to be faster still.
Come on, Sam.
Oh, this is exciting stuff. It really is nail-biting stuff, guys. If you're not on the edge of your sofa, I suggest you move forward and get comfortable, because this is going to get very interesting.
Look how close he is. He's going for it. Come on, son.
The cutoff is so tight.
He has to down. He's in the inside. Out breaks the Ferrari, and Pluijsbol is really struggling on those intermediates.
But to put things in perspective, the dry tyres, there's not that much difference at the moment. Either tyre might not be bad, but right now Sem, making full use of them softer tyres, just seems to have so much more grip and confidence than the guys ahead of him. And DRS is still active at this point in time. Of course, we won't get it for at least another lap.
Oh, there's a bit of collision with... Not a collision, but Compassion got in the side pods of the racing point. Sorry.
No, but that's okay. But as you can see, the softer tyres, they're still grippier. but it's not that much different at this point in time. Either tyre could be the right way to go. I just feel for Sem, he's going to run out of time, and those tyres are going to be useless in the next couple of laps. But at this point in time, he's still holding on, but he's starting to fall away a little bit actually now. So maybe the wet tyres started to come into play.
Oh, Steve on the hards. Look how hard he's struggling.
Yeah, Sem is falling back now on those softer tyres, falling back towards Plage-Bowl. It looks like it could be the time for the wet tyres, and Sem could start to regret it. He's poor exit out turn 7. Plage-Bowl overtaking the lap before. Carbon copy in reverse this time, up the inside of Sem, who gets a really poor, well, it's really poor under braking. They're losing so much traction, and Monster
before.
Monster
Adam,
follows Plage-Bowl through.
Can you look penalties? Maybe just. It's requested in the chat. But look, Monster and Plage-Bowl side by side, both contenders for the replacing of Luke and Tim. But look how close he is. Both are on the Inter tires, and now it's starting to rain hard, and the Inters are coming alive, I think. And Monster has now the P3, but look how close Plage-Bowl still is. See, where is he going? He's almost pushing him on the straight, but tucks him behind him for turn 2. No, it's just so close.
Well, Semmers took a massive gamble and put the wet tyres on, so
yeah, it's raining harder and harder.
It's raining very hard, so again, I'm questioning the strategy. I mean, Sem probably knows better than I do with this one, but it might just be a desperate move to try and reclaim what he had. Magic Alonso has also put the wet tyres on, but again, same boat really, nothing to lose at this point in the race. I can't see enough standing water for those wet tyres to really have an effect. I think Inters at the time, for the time being, are the way to go. You can see the top two though having a massive battle as far as penalties go. Flynn Finisher has a penalty for 3 seconds. Bolin has 6 seconds. Monster has 3 seconds. Plage-Bowl, been a very good boy this afternoon. Not one warning for the Ferrari
so
driver.
He'll be looking good on penalty wise. He'll probably be promoted to P2. Monster then still be on P3.
Yeah, at this point in time, you're right, yes.
Good maths. I'm good at maths. Not really.
Quick maths at the moment, but Monster and Bowling literally balancing
side
on a
by
knife
side.
edge.
I'm not side by side, but really close.
But yeah, you can see not a lot of traction there. You can't really throw it into turn 1 like there was. There's been an incident at the back of the field. Someone's gone into the wall. It's Ice-T.
Oh no.
He's had a spin there at the final corner. It looks like he's got some damage on that front wing end plate as well. You can see Sem and Magic Alonso going to keep an eye on their pace on the wet tyres at the moment. It's too early to tell if the wet tyres are a good tyre to be on right now, but there doesn't look to be too much standing water. So I just don't feel at this point in time that is the tyre to be on. Further up the front, the battle for the lead resumes. We've got Bowling now, who really needs to clear Flynn Finisher.
Has a really bad first chicane. But Thomas on the back of him, and he'll be gaining more points on Kai. But look how much he is having an advantage by just taking the racing line and braking on the right time.
Well, that's the name of the game.
He's going for the big bossy dive on by Thomas. I think he's going to love this commentary when he watches it back, but lovely dive bomb by Thomas. He always tells me he loves when I say that, but good move by the Belgians reigning champion.
Yori's got a decent exit and he's in the slipstream, although he's pulled out of it. Looks like he might be giving up that move. Looks like Darth Fever's got that move secured, and as I said, we haven't seen much of our reigning defending champion at this point in time, but he's certainly making headway, and of course critically, as you mentioned, Matthias, gaining ground, increasing the gap between him and Kai Elting in the Drivers' Championship at this point in time. And that's what he needs to do at this point. At the moment, just looking through at the back, Ice-T is coming to the pits to repair damage. It's Sem and Magic Alonso having a race of their own at the moment, not in a good way. Magic Alonso drifting around like he's in Tokyo at the moment, so the wet tyre is clearly not the tyre to be on. As Kai Elting goes up into the 9th position, he's cleared both of the Husses in as many corners, so brilliant stuff from Kai. Finally, Kai getting a big move on. He's had an interesting race today, but 10 laps to go.
Touches the
try and see, oh, well, Formula 1 cars should be doing that. I don't know if I saw it on your screen, Matthias, but he was bouncing around.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Formula 1 cars aren't supposed to be doing that, kids,
No,
but,
it aren't bumper cars. It isn't on the fair.
but it wouldn't be F1 2019 if we didn't have the case of the Dodgems. Something hopefully we won't see too much of on F1 2020, or maybe we will. Depends on what your preference is, guys.
Yeah.
But critically though, Bolin and Flynn Finish are still a fraction of a second between them. He's literally been stuck behind the Mercedes.
You're
such
into
a
the
long
pits.
time. These guys
Side by
in.
side for P11. He's going to send one down the inside. Lovely move by Cornet, AK Compassion.
Yeah, nice
Really
move there
close,
this time.
yeah.
Matthias Gamers had a very topsy-turvy race. He started
Heavy
at
rain
11 near the
incoming,
front.
Adam. Heavy rain incoming.
Ah,
More spectacle in this race.
well,
You
Yuri
love
has
to
put on the
see
wet
it.
tyres.
Is he going to have... Well, if it works out for him, he would have huge advantage in the pit stop from the rest of the guys, and Steve as well.
Quite possibly, it's a big undercut gamble, and of course this might play into Sem's hands as well. Sem has been getting faster, just been monitoring the pace. He's looking, I mean, he's been falling away the last couple of laps, but I'll tell you what, the last few laps he's actually been gaining on some of the interrunners. So this race could really fall into Sem's hands at this point in time. He's still a second or
I thought
so
he was
off.
going into the pits.
We'll have to
Look
wait
how close
and see.
Donkey is to Levy. Side by side into the Wolf Champ and to the last chicane. He takes him on the braking. Good move.
Yeah, Levi Volgalar saw that move coming, didn't really want to risk it. He's clearly not as fast as Donkey is at the moment, who, let's be honest, Donkey's having a brilliant race, but Darth Vader
Thomas
now
on the
trying
outside of Danny. Oh, now it's
Danny.
the inside. Is it going to be a
Nicely
lovely
done.
move? Yes, it is. But Danny fights back actually. Love to
It's
see
aggressive
it.
driving, but it's in the right manner, giving each other plenty of room to fight each other, firm but fair. But that's another good move from Darth Vader, climbing his way through the field now, and 5th place, and critically 10 championship points, not out of the question for him at the moment. As you can see now, it's starting to rain a bit harder. Monster's fallen away from the leading two, as is Pleasurable. So
I
clearly,
think Monster would be really happy with this P3.
well, it's
it will-
boding well for, I mean, our newer drivers, Bowling and Flim Finish, are definitely underdogs going into this weekend.
Poland.
But clearly showing that they belong in Formula Euroleague Division 1 at this point in time, driving a brilliant race between the two of them.
Wow. I think it's time to switch to the hard wets, I think.
Oh, it's raining down very, very heavy at the moment. I was just checking the pace right now, Matthias. Sem is still lapping slower than Lorenzo Bandini in 14th place, so it's still intermediates at the moment. Monitoring the times lap by lap, but right now the Inters are still the tyre to be on at this point in time.
Yeah. Kai overtook Danny, so he's struggling. 6 laps remaining actually. And Compassion is fighting for the last point on the table, and look how much they are struggling. And I think they are going to start thinking about pitting for full wets.
At this point, it's
You have to
right
look
on
how
a
hard
knife edge.
have to look how hard they are struggling to keep the car in the
Oh no, you're absolutely right, Matthias, to point that out, but I'm just looking at the intervals at the moment between Lorenzo Bandini and Sem, and they're literally dead level on this lap. So we're starting to come to the point where wet tyres might be key. Having said that, with so few laps remaining, if anyone near the front takes the gamble now, they may find themselves out of track position if no one else decides to follow them on that. It's at this point where
staying
you
out.
really need to take your time and really collectively make the right decision, as the wet tyres are starting to prove to be the faster tyre. Sem in this last sector, there's 3/4 of it, actually no, tell a lie, is a second faster
Kai
than
going down
Lorenzo
here.
Bandini.
Ooh, Kai with Thomas almost making contact. Almost doing the same what his teammate did last season, actually.
So, yeah,
And now
it looks
Thomas
like
going
it's
for
time
it.
for
We're on the
wets.
outside of turn 1. Good voice crack by myself. But again, a lovely move. But this time on the other Renault, but he fights back harder. Now Kai is down the inside of the other Renault. Is he going to
Yeah,
me? Oh, 2 places and 2 corners. Lovely.
well out of shape there, Danny Hetkamper, and that's what happens on the marbles. Usually the karting line is the way to go on the wet track, but when you get on the marbles like that on a wet track, as it is at turn 2 in Canada, it's like driving on ice, and Danny Hetkamper literally hung out to dry there, no pun intended, and losing 2 places in the space of a few corners. But there's been an incident down the field, just looking through who it might be, and it's Ice-T has retired from the race. But critically, Matthias, as you can see, Sem is the fastest man on the track at the moment on wet tyres. He's 15 seconds behind Lorenzo Bandini, so at this point he might not pay attention, might not help him out. Magic Alonso makes another pit stop.
Bulling going for it! He's going for it! Going! It's under yellow flags! He's overtaking under yellow flags.
Well, we are a bit out of sync at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see if he lets him back through at this point in time.
No, it is not. He'll get a penalty afterwards from the stewards.
No, I understand that. We haven't seen a penalty come up, Matthias. Remember, we're a bit out of sync in terms of what's actually happening on the racetrack, so there might have been back to green flag temporarily as he made that move. Of course, it didn't look it on the screen, but we've got to remember, I haven't seen anything come up to say that he's got a penalty, so that move may be legal. As I said, we can only go by the pictures we have, but remember, we are a bit out of sync with the session, so it looks like that move was legal from Bowling. However, Bowling, just looking at the penalties now, just to make sure how that's going to pan out, 'cause I think Flynn got a penalty just there, so that might have been an actual move for the race lead. We'll just have to wait, looking through now, as I flick through. And no, sorry, so I do tell a lie, it was just a warning for him on that occasion. So Flynn still leads at the moment. He's got a couple of seconds in his pocket, but now he needs to keep Bowling within his sights. Bowling has to pull out a 3-second gap in the last couple of laps to win this race. And who's your money on, Matthias? Because right now, these two
Flynn,
outsiders in the F1 Formula Euroleague hierarchy, proving to be the class of the field today.
Come on.
You sound like you're enjoying yourself there.
Yeah, I'm really loving this good race. But
we've got the 2 Renaults fighting it out for 8th and 9th place, just like Hamilton and Button did in 2011. It's the
Compassion retired. What happened to him?
He's had an incident, Compassion, as you can see, and he's completely, he's literally had an incident. Just looking through for him at the moment, so he's retired. He's given up the ghost on that one, unfortunately. That's his race over. Not a good day for him in the Williams. Hoping for better from him, better days to come on F1 2020 game.
This is giving me flashbacks.
His teammate Monster doing a superb job in 3rd place.
Kai touching Thomas. A little bit on the back.
Well, yeah, of course, we should talk about this battle. The battle between the 2 championship leaders out of sync from where we'd normally expect them to be. With Donkey in there, who's, I've got to say, Donkey, a brilliant performance from him in this race. One of the better drives from him this season. In difficult conditions, he'll be very happy with this, but he's got the 2 championship leaders right behind him who is bad enough they're fighting amongst each other. They've got a 3rd party to this one now, but Darth Fever all over the back of Donkey. Is he going to go for the lunge? He doesn't. He just holds it in there, but Kai is not going to mess around, because if Darth Fever does not make that move, Kai will, and Kai all over the back of Darth Fever now. Darth Fever goes to the left-hand side of the fence, but Kai sends him for a dummy, tries to squeeze it into turn 1 there, but he's not able to get there. But how is the traction going to be on the exit? He's on the outside, on the dirty side with the marbles, but he's got a great exit cut, a little bit of a switchback. Is he going to go for the move into turn 3? Oh, this is so tight. Wasn't really any room to get both of them through there, and Kai backs out. But is he going to go for a move this time? Again, sends Darth Fever for a dummy, but Darth Fever holds his line. Oh, they're so tight, these two, literally giving no room.
Respect.
They're banging wheels together.
Come on.
But Kai's got a great exit. He seems to have more confidence on those intermediate
Thomas
tyres.
stays on the inside.
But surely...
This is such a good battle.
Oh, brilliant move from Kai. He did go a little bit wide there, but I think he was forced wide by Darth Fever for a little bit.
This is how it should have gone between Benjamin and Matthias. Oh, a bit opportunistic there.
Yeah, a little bit opportunistic. I'll tell you what, Darth Fever very, very fortunate to get away with just a bang of wheels there. Definitely should not have braked that late into the corner, but Kai
2 laps to go.
Brilliant move done. It's only worth 2 points, but every point is going to count in this championship. Back to the front, Flynn Finisher doing exactly what he needs to do to win this race at the moment. He's still within that 3-second gap of Bolin, who is pushing like crazy to stay ahead of him. But as we can see, the wet tyre is definitely the tyre to be on, but it's not enough. They're not fast enough. Sem is fastest man on the track, but he's not fast enough to really make it work. So his race seems to be ruined by the fact he stayed on those dryers earlier on in under the safety car.
Yeah, but what a battle. You really love to see. This is giving me flashbacks to the battle between Bandel and Plausible, Britain Tier 2. That was such a good battle. It goes on to the final corner, but you love to see it. And also great respect between the two of them. And Thomas will be trying to close into Kai, but I think if Kai drives clean on the final lap, I think he can have it. But we'll never know what will happen when it comes to penalties.
No, you're absolutely right. Of course, it's great to see as we come through the final lap now. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Bolin? Is it going to be Flynn? Neither have won in Formula EuroLeague. Flynn on his Formula EuroLeague debut. Who's it going to be?
Bolin as well, I think.
Did he not race in the last race?
No, I think in Tier 1. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to check on that, but nonetheless,
is one of them going to win?
Oh man, who's your money on, guys?
Flynn makes a mistake. Flynn makes a mistake. He makes a mistake out of the corner, but I think Bolin now has to keep his head cool. It's Bolin's debut as well, but I think Bolin, keep your head cool. It's only 2 corners left to go, and it's too trickiest on the circuit. There should be a time.
He's still got that extra penalty.
Yeah,
he's actually stopped another penalty. So Flynn Finisher is going to take the win. And I'll tell you what, Bolin's going to do well to finish second here because he's got quite a lot of penalties here. I believe he might have enough in his pocket to take second, but as he comes across the line now,
he wins on track.
Take the flag on track. But I believe Flynn Finisher is going to win on his debut. There you go.
Plausible made a mistake and he's now betting with Kai.
Oh, and Kai, they're trying to go for a move of fourth. Monster is coming across the line now. Plausible desperately holding on. Donkey's in there as well. Donkey's
look how close, Thomas as well. Final corner. Oh my god.
My goodness, the pair of them going across the line. They've both been compromised. Plausible's just going to hold on to fourth. Donkey comes through fifth. Kai Elting gets this time. Kai Elting gets
Levy up to P5. Levy up to P5. Amazing on a Tier 1 debut.
Well, that's penalties for you, but this time Kai Elting gets Dark Fever over the line. Not that it would have mattered anyway, but
what a race, finish. Adam.
Donkey, though, unfortunately for Donkey, Matthias went all the way down to 9th.
Oh, that's a shame, but
penalties really compromised him. But what an absolutely ridiculous race! But what a brilliant performance!
You love to see it. Absolutely amazing. Last corner, everything like Flynn, absolutely amazing and winning your debut, and Bolin in the P2 as well, and Monster again P3. Amazing scenes, amazing.
Well, what a way to end our time with Formula 1 2019 game.
Been a great
absolute barnstormer of a finish with 2 debutants taking the top 2 finishes. Bolin got it done on the road, but penalties held him back. But it's the winner in the Mercedes on his debut. It's not Dark Fever, it's Flynn Finisher. What a drive from the young man, and
absolutely
is this a sign of things to come?
I don't know, Mercedes might have a diamond. Can you maybe invite the top 3 for the interviews?
Yeah, absolutely.
But this has been an amazing race, guys. We'll now have a long break ahead of us, but what a race it's been. It's been Phil Williams' first podium of the season. Another winner than Kai or Thomas or Uran, but this is your unofficial results with Flynn Finisher finishing in P1, Bolin P2, Monster P3, Plausible P4, Levy in a good strong result P5 from P17 to P5, Kai in P6, Hetkamper P7, so good points for a no so far this season, Thomas P8, Donkey P9, again points for the Toro Rosso team, SVDL points for his first time, out of the into the points. Benjamin, Matthias, yeah, Lorenzo out of the points, and your PSV, the only man who finished last, and the rest is everything a DNF or a disqualification. Amazing scenes. Yeah, have to let them through. The PlayStation is a bit glitching.
19 experience commentating on these races. It's races like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. So, I mean, I'm hoping that we have races like that in F1 2020 as well. Hopefully that's not the last of the type of races that we get. What a way to finish.
You love to see it. But it's really amazing scenes. Williams getting the first podium. And two debutants in P1 and P2.
And once again, as I said, Matthias,
Monster on the podium. How many times? 4 times?
I mean, he's been a regular. I mean, Alex Spumberg, my co-commentator for Formula Euroleague and VRL, mentioned to me, is Monster up there with the likes of Kai Elting and Darth FIFA? Well, you've got to say on performances like that.
He's
and the man himself is confirming it for me. Absolutely right. I believe more, and I told you, Monster, I said more finishes like that, mate, on a day like today, you are definitely in with a shout of this championship. You cannot rule it out.
Yeah, now I can't definitely rule it out, but the gap is just a bit too big. But if I'm doing this all the time, then I can close it. I know it.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And looks like we're having the rest of our drivers joining in.
Yeah, Monster, really good drive from P10 to P3. Really good job.
Thank you.
No problem.
And of course, you'll be delighted to know, Monster, and with your team boss with us on commentary, that was Williams' first podium
of the season.
It's redemption day.
Yeah, it's redemption. But do we have the debutant of Formula Euroleague in P2, VR Bolin? Describe your race, please. It's been an amazing race. You think you can? Yeah, it's been a good race. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hi Bolin, it's Adam here as well. You mentioned the penalties following Flynn. From your view, how hard was it to overtake Flynn? Because it seemed like you were following him for a few laps and you were having a hard time in the wet to overtake. Well, nonetheless, it was an excellent performance.
Yeah.
Shame you couldn't get the win, but you did get the win on the road. Of course, unfortunately, weren't able to keep it, but let's hope for more impressive performances like that. It's a brilliant debut nonetheless, so congratulations.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Love to see more of you.
Race winner?
No, he hasn't joined. No, sadly.
I have invited him. I'll try and see if I can get hold of him again. In the meantime, I mean, what were your thoughts on the race? It seems that he's left the lobby. Let me see if I can invite him again. But in the meantime, Matthias, what were your thoughts on that race?
It's been an amazing race with, I think, the best thing you could have imagined to close the first half of the season off. And I think Lucas, as you said, he could be the outsider in this championship with his 4th podium and again a P3, and I think he's been looking good this season, and I think I'm really curious to see what he can do in a new game, and I'm also really curious to see what Bolin can do in the upcoming races if he's going to race, because I think you're really wanted with some teams. But it's been impressive debut. Head off. Ooh. That's 2 seasons. So we're seeing more of you in the upcoming weeks and months. Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a great signing. With drives like that, I certainly can't argue how good a signing that is. Unfortunately, it seems that our race winner's not able to join us, Matthias, so I think we're going to have to wrap this one up. But
yeah.
So what are the final thoughts on this race?
Amazing race. Hope to see more of that, especially the final corner with 4 cars trying to get to P5, but eventually Levy won it on penalties, the battle. But I can't wait till next game. Can't really wait. Amazing
and that's a good point. And I think that's all that's left from me to say on that one, guys. Of course, if you've enjoyed this, guys, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. But in the meantime, I mean, what a way to end off the Formula 1 2019 game. And of course, as we say goodbye to one game, a new game upon us on the horizon for F1 2020, bringing new handling, new cars, new performance, and hopefully some more exciting races with, of course, our new blood, new young drivers as well. So that's all I have to say is goodbye from me.
Yeah, and goodbye from me as well. And I hope to see you in a week or for a month. So on the new game, really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Have a good
we'll join you after the summer break.
Yeah, have a good summer everyone. Oh, have to close the stream. Have a good night.